Hi guys, Paul from International Scale Modeler. Welcome to another review. Today I've got Great Wall Hobbies brand new 1/48 scale F-15C, the MSIP 2. A lot of you noticed I've very nearly finished the build of the F-15BD by Great Wall Hobby. One more part she's done. It's been an awesome kit. Big fan of the Great Wall Hobby stuff, as a few of you will know very well. Nice to see the single-seater variant with all the various upgrades as well, which I'll get to in a minute. Box art. Very catchy box art. Not quite as good as the BD variant in my opinion, but it's still good, it's different, and obviously it shows the different layout that this version has underneath as well. So box, very attractive Great Wall Hobby box as always. Like I say, you got the box art on the front. On the side you got various pictures, CAD drawings of the nose radar, ordnance underneath, the engine, the cockpit of avionics, the speed brake, and obviously the missiles as well. Also shows the decals, if I can show those on the overhead. So there's part of the decal scheme and the photo etch fret that comes with it. Not much. You basically got the intakes for the engines, the head-up display, and the two rear, I think identification panels. I can't remember now, mine's gone blank. On the side you've got another version of the box art with the number, which is 4817. Obviously it's a 48 scale kit, and on this other side you've got the decal schemes shown for the various fighter units that we've got. We've got 131st Fighter Wing Missouri and 104 Fighter Wings Massachusetts, so both National Air Guard. That's around it really. So if we open it up, I'll have a look what we've got inside. I'm just going to move that to the floor to knock in my lights. Let's just bring that light in a bit actually. Take our camera up to get everything in, that's better. So as you open it up, it might white out a little bit. You've got the instructions, a little bit of info on the aircraft, which we'll get to in a minute. There's two giant stencil scheme callouts, which is a very nice touch, I like that. Same here, so you've got the top and bottom there, the left and right there, and the two main decal schemes there and there as well. It covers the aircraft, the pylons, the fuel tanks, sidewinders, and the outrams as well. So a nice touch, full colour, which is always great. I do like that. So we'll pop those to one side. We'll get to the instructions first because I'll read off the differences between this and the other kits. You've got ordnance, not as much as you did on the other kits, as you can see, because there's only 6 pieces of it there, so they can go over there. And then the main sprues. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, my god, 13, 14, 20, 21, so there's roughly about 21 sprues. Your decals, which is not a massive amount, which is always nice to see, and small photo etch fret and a bit of acetate film in there as well. So we'll pop all that over there. We'll get these sprues out. Now what I like about the Great Wall Hobby is they're resealable sprues. So I'm going to chuck that on the floor, and hopefully we can keep some order of what we've got. So what I'll do is I'll just show you this quickly. So this is the difference between the MSIP. So if you're interested and want to read it, if you pause that now, have a little read. I'll read it off as well. So we have the F-15 Eagle is an all-weather, extremely manoeuvrable tactical fighter designed to gain and maintain air superiority in aerial combat. It's designed by McDonnell Douglas Corp, now belongs to Boeing, and is now the main power of the US Air Force. The F-15C is an improved version of the original F-15A single-seat air superiority fighter. Additions incorporating the F-15C include upgrades to the avionics as well as increased internal fuel capacity and a higher allowable gross takeoff weight. Some F-15C came off the assembly line with the MSIP 2 in place. The MSIP 2, which is part of an MSIP plan, an update plan for the F-15 early version, upgraded the capabilities of the F-15 aircraft. The plan update F-15C with new AN/APG-70X band pulse Doppler radar, 2s including ALQ-135 internal countermeasures, ALR-56C radar warning receiver, and AN-ALQ-128 radar warning Magnavox suite. An MIL standard 1760 aircraft weapons standard electrical interface bus to provide the digital technology needed to support new and modern weapon systems like AMRAAM. God, it's a mouthful. The upgrade also enables onboard systems to communicate and to work with each other under network-centric operations, NCO condition. A new central computer was significantly improved processing speed and memory capacity, upgraded the F-15 from 70s to 90s technology, adding capacity needed to support new radar and other systems. Meanwhile, low factor alarm system is installed to avoid submaneuverability, plus 9 Gs, and the updated radar and electrical instruments will help F-15 to maintain its ascendancy into the 21st century. So there you go, a bit of boring information. Quite a mouthful, to be honest. We won't go through the instructions just yet because I like to go through those at the end. What we will do though is we'll start with some of the sprues. So what we've got here, we've got the left and right lower wing sections. Now, Pro Hobby bags are awesome. I really do like these. So just unstick open and stick back together. So what you may want to do if you're looking at either of these kits is you might want to go to the other review, the BD from a few months back. Well, last year it was. Well, the beginning of this year. Have a look at that because there's going to be a lot of similarities between this kit. There's probably only going to be several differences. Obviously this is a single seat, as the cockpit's going to be different. But most of the major components are going to be identical, so I'm not going to spend too much time on them. All I will say is, again, with the BD variant I've just built, the riveting detail and panel lines are superb. Very, very subtle, not overdone, but still enough to hold a wash, as I've just found out recently. So they are absolutely superb. There won't be a hint of flash on this kit anywhere. I will put money on that because I remember from the last time it was absolutely flawless. But the likes of the riveting detail, if it's going to catch it, there you go. You can see the panel lines. The very, very fine riveting detail is absolutely beautifully done. Surface detail is really top drawer. And like I say, no flash on this. There'll be no ejector pin marks where they're going to be a problem or where you can see them. So you can have no problems with this. Like I said, I'm not going to linger too long on every single sprue because I want to get through the review fairly quick. I'm also going to try and bag them back up as I go, because otherwise after the review I end up with a floor full of sprues and a load of bags. I can never find the right bloody one for them. Right, so that was the lower wing sections. These are the upper. And again, superb surface detail, really is top drawer. Great little hobby kit. The MiG is one of my favourite ones I've ever built from them, and the F-15 just literally flew together, pardon the pun. Now that surface detail you can catch there when I catch the light, it's just absolutely gorgeous. The riveting's nice, the panel lines aren't too deep, they're not trench like. All the other surface detail, in fact I would say it's actually crisper on this, but I don't know if it's just because I'm so used to seeing it with primer on that it almost looks a little bit deeper and a bit more pronounced. I'd have to go watch my other review because obviously I've seen the F-15B BD variant with paint on, so obviously it loses a little bit of its detail, but the surface detail is absolutely superb. The fit of the kit is second to none. There's a tiny little bit of filler just needed on these front parts here, and that's literally about it, and literally where the nose meets the fuselage, a tiny little bit. So it's an easy build, not too complicated. Obviously it's all in the painting and weathering with these, and that's what makes a difference. But again, that surface detail, absolutely superb. Got a loose part on a sprue there, but it's no big deal. And like I say, I'm not going to linger too long on them, but as you can see, that surface detail is absolutely beautiful. So if I can't stick them in the bags, I'll just lob them back in the box and deal with it later. Now we've got the nose cone, and I'll explain how this all fits together because it goes together very neatly. I was rather impressed, and you can actually leave it as a separate part where you get it all weathered. So obviously this is the single seater version. So again, you've got all the avionics bays at the front here. So should you so wish, you can leave that open. These are the covers. The instrument display panel is right behind my hand there, and as you can see, very nicely detailed. There'll be decals in there to stick over them. I did them individually and they look great. Obviously the front cowling for the instrument panel, various sidewall details, the radar, the nose cone, again beautifully moulded. As you can see, these two halves go together, and this leaves this part here that literally slots in up to there on the fuselage, and that's the nose cone installed. There goes the nose cone off itself, the radome. All I needed was a little touch of filler just here and there on these places where it butted up, and it went down great. So it's a very nice system for attaching that nose cone. It's the nose. It's very secure, and it does work absolutely brilliantly. So let's pop that in there. Like I said, if you want a bit more of an in-depth review, go look at the BD variant, because it is very, very similar. There's only a few differences on this. We've got the intakes here. These require a little bit of work. I don't know who's brought any aftermarket for this yet. It'd be good if they had. Basically, what I did on these front parts was I used plastic card to cover over the seams, just here. So basically made them seamless. Get that paint inside, job done. But again, they do fit together rather well. They do need a little bit of work. If you have patience enough with a sander and some filler, you get it filled, no drama at all. But I took the easy route, just a very thin piece of plastic card, cut it roughly to shape, popped it in, extra thinned it, painted over it, job done, absolutely perfect. So not much to look at there. They obviously locate inside, and they won't give you any dramas at all. I certainly had none. Engine, several parts to make the identical sprues, so we'll ditch one and just stick with one. As you can see, surface detail on the engine is quite good. Can't be faulted at all. If you decide to show it in display or on show, plenty of piping and wiring in there to make it look a bit more interesting. So it is a great engine. It looks really, really good. Obviously mine was glued in position, so I didn't even bother painting it. Put them in position, got the burner can set up nice, and you can see the detail there. And in fact, I can even grab one and show you what it looks like when it's painted up. So there you go. That's that part. You glue all 4 parts together, or 3 parts. So it is 4. That was done in Mr. Hobby Buffable, and you can see they look absolutely great. They're very, very detailed plastic parts, and once you paint the white inside, weather up a little bit with different colours, they're going to look absolutely stunning. Like I say, there's 2 sprues of those, which keeps it nice and simple. So like I say, if you're not going to bother showing the engine unless you really want to paint it, my opinion is if you can't see it, why waste all that time painting it? But at least you can pull it out so you can see it and what have you. So it's your choice. I chose not to paint them, and I just concentrated on the burner cans themselves. We've got the cockpit. So as you can see, single seater. So you've got plenty of instruments, switches and buttons on there. Like I did, I painted it black, the console, dry brushed it grey, I did a wash. And then you've got the avionics for the rear part, which are here. And there are plenty of bits to add to that. These handles and what have you. So once that's painted up, washed and what have you, that's going to look rather interesting. So it'll probably be a bit more of an interesting cockpit than the BD variant. And yet again, surface details really nice, and no flash at all. So you're going to have no dramas there. And it's going to look absolutely stunning. I was quite happy with my F-15 cockpit. Right up until I spoke super glue in there. I had to spend a few hours trying to rectify that, which was fun. But saved it in the end, and it looks quite good. I'm more than happy with it for a kit cockpit. We've got weapons pylons and wheels. Now again, I've just assembled these. They are behind me ready to be painted, because between Christmas and New Year I plan to get the last part of this build out. So the wheels are in halves. So glue them together. They've got a flat spot included, which is a nice touch. Front and rear, the struts, etc. And again, the detail is really nice, really crisp. Wheel detail is really good. The landing strut detail is good, and they're just going to look stunning. Like I say, mine are ready to be painted up, so I can't comment on how they're going to look, but they glue together really well. Not too much trouble at all. We've got a sprue here with quite a few parts missing. We've got pylons, various adapters for the pylons, sensors, etc. So is this a double sprue? Yeah, both identical. And again, that lovely surface detail on those pylons are going to make all the difference, and they look absolutely stunning. Now we've got the canopy, which, if I remember right, has a seam. It does. And somebody was just asking today, actually, on ISM's Facebook page, how to remove the seam. If you want to see that, I think it's part 3 or 4 of the F-15 build. Go and have a look and actually show it. But it's basically the grey the black sponge UMP sanders, and then the green white buffer. I didn't use any polishing compound at all, and it came up absolutely spot on, just with our polisher sander at the end. So we've got the intakes, so we've got the up and down, gives you the option for both, then the up and down position again. Lovely surface detail, if you can see that. Catch it, there you go. Very, very nice. And obviously you get the choice of positions, which is always good. These are two identical screws, so we just concentrate on one. But again, they weren't too troublesome to build, and they look rather good once they're done. I chose them in the up position, just purely aesthetics. I prefer how it looked, but obviously the choice is there should you require it. It's always nice to get the option, so that's really good. And again, that lovely surface detail is absolutely superb. Great Wall Hobby really are knocking out the park at the minute. With a few other manufacturers out there as well, Hobby Boss and Trumpeter, really are setting the bar really high for the companies to follow up on. So I'll leave that there. Pop them in there. But the glass we'll get to in a minute. We've got a rather large bag full of bits. I know it's the actual tub itself. Got drop tanks which all fit in there neatly. So this is the main lower part of the fuselage. As you can see, same beautiful rivet lines and detail. Wheelbays aren't too bad. There's a bit of detail in there. Should you wish to super detail them, you can add wiring, hoses, etc. But for me, for a kit part, looks rather good. And like I say, the surface detail is top notch. Just continues on through the whole aircraft. We've got a very small part here, which I'm not going to lie, I have absolutely no idea what it is. Looks like one of the rear parts, but I can't really tell. I'll have to keep an eye out for that. It's R2. See what it is. It's a bit strange, but we'll see what it is when we get through the instructions. Ejector seat. Now I've built these up, they look great. I'm not saying they wouldn't benefit from a resin seat, but they are very good. Certainly acceptable in my eyes, but if you wanted to super detail, I'd go get one of the resin ones, and it really will add a lot of difference to it. But the surface detail is nice. They hold a wash well. I remember doing mine and they turned out great. So again, very, very nice detail. That's one side. In here we have the nose bracing bar. This part here is where that part of the nose goes, I showed before. Glued in position. And it really does give a positive locating point for the nose to stick into. So like I say, you can leave the nose off right till the end till you're happy with it. Get it all filled, sanded, polished, etc. Then glue it in position, and you can see what it looks like, and that really is a positive handhold for it. A few sensors, a few struts, etc. there, and they're all really crisply made. There's the gun there, the minigun, and again, you don't really see much of it, but it's there to see the details sticking out if you need it. And again, no dramas there at all. You've got the speed brake and part of the engine. Speed brake's nothing much to look at all. All I'd say is be careful cutting these up. I cut mine a tad too short. Well, mine had to do a little bit of filling, but the internal detail is nice bit of cross ribbon, so if you do display it up, you can show that off with a bit of wash, and it's going to look rather good. Whether on mine, now when I do get around to doing this, I might display everything open, just so you can see a bit more of it, and make it a bit more interesting. I'm not sure yet. I'm not a fan of having everything displayed. Kind of ruins it for me a little bit. Exhaust, I'm assuming they're the intake fans. I'm not sure, to be honest, but again, crisply moulded. We've got a little bit of damage there, where it's obviously been hit, where the point fell off. It's on the desk somewhere, but never mind. And again, very crisply made. Surface detail is nice. No flash. I haven't seen an ounce of flash on this kit yet. And it's going to look rather good. Tell a lie, I have, but it's on a part that you cut off. We're right there, but they're cut off and thrown in the bin anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So there's those little parts, and loads of bags I've left out, but never mind. Drop tanks, 3 of these. All the same, I assume, which they are, so we'll just have one. And again, surface detail is good. It's raised surface detail. I've just literally glued one of these together, sanded it. I lost a bit of the raised surface detail, so to add it back was a bit of a pain, to be honest. The way I did it, once it was all together, glued, sanded, polished, etc., I then wrapped masking tape around where the raised parts are, and using a really thick primer I just built it up slowly, adding more and more to it as it dried, and I built up the detail and added a raised surface detail to it. So it's a nice little trick. It's worked quite well. Still got a bit more work to do, but the F-15BD is very nearly done. So 3 of those, quite easy to stick together, a little bit of glue, a bit of filling, but it's getting that raised detail back in is a bit of a pain if you lose it, and sadly I did, because there's just no way of sanding it all without getting to it with a sander. So you literally are a little bit screwed. We'll leave those out because they're being a pain to get back in. And we'll pop those there as well. Bags everywhere, bags galore. Ordnance, 2 different types. Like I say, there's only 6 in this one. I think there was 8 in the other, so there's 2 of these. Big fan of the way Great Wall Hobby do this on the sprues with the ordnance, the missiles. 3 locating points, cut them off, sand them, job done. They're all built, they're together. The surface detail is lovely with raised and recessed detail, and they really do add to the build. A lot of manufacturers could take note there and what they're doing, but Great Wall Hobby really do know the stuff with this. There's only 2 of these ones. I don't know if they're the Sparrows. I've actually forgotten which ordnance comes with this one now. I might be completely wrong. We shall see. That back in there like so. And onto the ones I'm assuming are the AMRAAMs. Just grab one. So there's 4 of those, all identical. Again on separate sprues. Fantastic raised and recessed surface detail. Riveting's very nice. Like I said, there's nothing to glue to these at all. They are beautifully moulded, and they really are going to look the part once painted up, decaled, weathered, etc. And just those 3 locating points, which are really easy to clean. Sorry, there's 4 on this one. 4 locating points, just snip them off, tie them up with a sander, job done. There's no glue and fins on, you know, hundreds of parts, no photo etch, but the surface detail is there and it does look great. Like I say, 4 of those. Do love the way they're individually packaged. Always like that. Always been impressed by that with the very first time I opened that MiG. But absolutely fantastic touch that a lot of manufacturers could learn from. Canopy, which is loose. It's in 2 parts, that's why. Obviously we've got the front section which is the same as the BD. And the real one which appears to be stuck in the bag. Come on. So they're both very nearly loose off the sprue. We've got some landing gear lights and the front and rear canopy. Very, very slight seam. Don't know if you can see that, I'm just going to pick it up. Polish out, really easy to do. Use the UMP sanding sticks. That's very, very minute, barely nothing there. And obviously the canopy as well. Bit thicker on the canopy. You see how nice and clear it is. You can see that line through the middle though, but once you've taken care of that with some sanders and a polisher, it's job done. Very easy to do. Again, a little bit untidy on these end parts, but they're cut off anyway, so it doesn't really matter. It's not the end of the world. Let's pop those over there, and like I say, the landing lights as well. So there's all the parts. What we'll do is we'll go through the decals and the photo etch. And we'll quickly run through the instructions and the call-outs. And that's us done. So like I say, if you want a bit more of an in-depth review, go look at the BD variant because most of the parts are shared. And you can get a bit more of in-depth review there. I think it's about 40 minutes long, the other one. Photo etch, very minimalistic. I would like to see a bit more with this, especially when Great Wall Hobby are owned by Lime Raw, which is a huge photo etch manufacturing company. But maybe that's saying enough about the kit. It's that good, doesn't need a lot of photo etch. Maybe so. But you literally got 6 pieces of photo etch in there. Very crisply etched on. Etched on. Very crisply made on the fret. And very simple parts, so nothing too taxing photo etch wise. A little bit of acetate, which is pre-marked to cut out the head-up display, which you've got here. That is quite tricky to fold, but it is doable because I did it. And just a little bit of film to make that head-up display. I'm just going to pop that back in so we don't lose it. Oh, excuse me. Decals. You got the main decals themselves, which are very nice. They're not cartograph, unfortunately, but from what I remember on mine, there was no problems at all, other than putting the decal upside down. or the stars and bars. That'll never happen again. The decals are down really nice. They set really nice with the set solution. No dramas, no silvering, no falling apart. Absolutely great. So there's a few schemes in there to choose from, several. I think it's at least 3 or 4 there. Might be wrong, might only be 2. But they are there. And then you've got the stencil sheet as well. Which again, not too many. It might look a lot to you, but to me, there's not that many. These are doubled up, so you've got the darker and the lighter grey for various colours. So if you've got a different colour on top to the bottom, which you will have, there's different decals. So that's same for these do not walks. And a few other parts, they do have the different colour decals, but again, no problem. There's not that many there. There's a couple hundred there, but once you tackle a few hundred, 600 plus, these seem like nothing. And like I say, they do go down very well. You can see the instrument panel ones here. If I can get it to focus. So any cutting off and just individually sticking on. It might seem a bit tedious doing it, but it is worthwhile doing because it adds a lot of interest to the build. It's quite a big canopy on the F-15, so you can see quite clearly in there. So it is worth spending the time adding those extra decals. There'll be a few decals in there for the seat as well, and obviously for the ordnance and what have you as well. So again, shouldn't be too taxing. Quickly go over this. We've got the colour callouts. So you've got the camo callouts and the main decal callouts as well for the 2 different units, or squadrons should I say, fighter wings rather. But the nice clear, nice colour, so you can see the full camo pattern there, very similar to the D variant I've just built. Right down to the ordnance at the bottom, so you've got the AMRAAM and the sidewinder, the centre fuel line tanks, and the pylons. On the back we've got the stencil markings. Now the other kit doesn't get these this big, so this is a nice touch because you really can see where they go, and it can be quite confusing with all the stencils sometimes to see where they actually belong and which orientation they go, but with that there's no getting away from that, so that's absolutely brilliant. So you've got the side profiles there and the colour callouts as well, and you've got the top and bottom for the stencils there and there. So like I say, I don't think it's anything too taxing. There's not that many there. So that's the bottom, that's the top. It's an evening's work, really easy to do. Like I say, they're really nice clear callouts, so take note of any other company. That is a brilliant touch by Great Wall Hobby. So you certainly can't blame the instructions for you screwing up something on the decals. It's all down to you. Let's get out of the shot. Instructions, they are approximately 18 pages long, 19 including the back. Very simple to follow. There's nothing hard about this at all. I had no dramas with the D variants whatsoever. Like I say, you got a little bit of information on the front that we read out last time. Onto the keys for the different meanings, so fill, hole, apply decal, tools required, using photo etch parts and decal application. There's no real warnings. Oh, there is at the top. You've got the usual warnings at the top, you know, like don't paint your bathroom while wearing lederhosen. You know, don't go ballooning with a ferret while it's eating its dinner. I just think they're mental, you know. When you use glue or paint and you're using near an open flame, well, yeah, okay, flammable paint and flame. You have to be pretty stupid to do that. I mean, take part of the runner frame, use the modelling scissors and trim excess plastic with cutter or file. Don't know why that's a caution, because that's just telling you what to do basically. And see below for meanings of the symbols, and see below for the colour list. Glue and paint are not included in the kit. Again, not really caution, so just, you know, that's information. So there's only really one caution there: just don't glue or paint. When you glue or paint, don't use so near an open flame. So a bit by the by, to be honest, but never mind. Like I say, no real dramas. I had no problem following these instructions. They're very straightforward, very clear and concise. Every step is really well explained. With keys for drilling holes, what needs painting, the colour, the call-outs are in Mr. Hobby, Mr. Colour and Vallejo colours as well. So you've got a couple of references there, and I'll just cover quite a broad span of the painting. Obviously these first parts are different because all this front section is a single seat, so you've got the seat, the avionics, the nose radar, which the other kit had as well, onto the intakes, the nose support part there, right through to attaching the ailerons, flaps, etc, blah blah blah. The inlets, you've got the up and down version, so the different parts required for each one. So again, nothing too technical. Attaching the top and bottom fuselage sections together, attaching the nose, so as you can see it locates into that hole and that butts up to the fuselage, really neat. Assembling the engine, really straightforward again. I didn't use any of these parts, I just went straight for the afterburner cans at the back, pop them in, but there's the whole thing built. So should you want to build it, paint it all, it may be possible to remove it so you can see it. I chose not to, I just wanted it in position to show the actual burner cans themselves. Onto the vertical stabilizers, the canopy. So be aware here where you cut these, because I did cut one of these a little bit too short and you can see out on mine, which is a bit of a pain, but it's just tough. Landing gear, again very straightforward. Onto the landing gear bay covers. Parking slate, never seen that one called that before, but never mind. In-flight assembly, so it shows you how to close all this up. I think Lee was complaining the other day on Facebook that not many manufacturers allow you to do that. I'll put money on these fitting. I didn't try it on mine, but I will if I get a chance on the D variant to see if they actually fit, but I bet they do. To give you this option, I bet they fit, so you can display it in flight with no holes or gaps. Radar maintenance cabin assembly, so like I say, you can leave these open, you get the gas struts to show it all, so again you can have everything on display right through to the ordnance and the fuel tanks, the sensors, etc. Adding the fuel tanks and the ordnance, and obviously the sprue layout as well. So great instructions. Again, they really do set a standard with some instructions. I really like the Great Wall Hobby ones. They're quite clear and concise, really easy to follow, and you'll have no dramas with those whatsoever at all. So there we go, another fantastic kit by Great Wall Hobby. I'll build this at some point this year, next year rather, 2015. Not sure when, but they're a nice, not a simple build, but they're a nice easy build. There's nothing really too technical. It's all in your weathering and painting with them, and it just goes together like a dream. Minimal filler needed, no fit issues that I noticed whatsoever with the kit, and it just went together absolutely brilliantly. So there we go. So like I say, you want to see a slightly more in-depth review, go look at the BD one I did last year, well earlier this year. Just because I'll focus a bit more on the sprues that we've gone through, because obviously most of them are shared. But there you go, there's the F-15C MSIP 2 by Great Wall Hobby. So thanks for watching, hope you liked the review, and I'll catch you guys later.